the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the
squirrels.
World. Give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're watching this transmission. Broadcasting and transmitting to every English-speaking country in the world. I want to thank everybody for joining Mike in the Night. Whether you're a long-haul trucker listening to this, surprisingly, there's quite a bit that listen to Mike in the Night. Whether you downloaded this from and listening to this in the future and taking a flight somewhere, which somebody messaged me and told me that's how they listened to last week's show. I salute you guys. I salute everybody for being part of Mike in the Night. Our little underground scene that we got going on here, a little underground discussion, and kind of just maybe dabbling on current affairs and not getting too political, because God forbid we get political nowadays. Anyways, broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia to the English-speaking world, down south to the US, east across to the United Kingdom, southeast all the way across to Australia, from Perth across to Sydney and north to Melbourne and across the pond to New Zealand. Welcome to Mike in the Night. Tonight's big secret. What is the big secret? You know, one thing that's chewing me up, eating me up the last couple of days. Well, there's quite a few things I've been eating up, a couple of things. So before I kick off tonight's show, I want to dedicate tonight's show to my daddy, who passed away 3 weeks ago, and it was a really tough time, and it's still becoming a tough time. It is really tough, when you love someone, and when someone's your hero. My dad is my hero, and he's given us a lot. Our family. He's given a lot to the family. He's contributed a lot, and I'm never gonna forget everything he did and does for us, even through his teachings that we continue with. And I kind of wanted to throw that out there for my dad. And let's go back here on channel news, guys. Don't forget the Mike in the Night from 3 weeks ago. That was like a day or two before my dad passed away. From 3 weeks ago, top 10 everything was a good one. Gen X, boomers, and all that stuff we talked about. A couple of shows. And then Mike in the Night tries to get cut off a few times. And then we got Trends in the Housing Market. If you haven't seen Trends in the Housing Market on the channel, check it out, guys. It's with Uneducated Economist. He's a really good guy. Uneducated Economist is very educated, if you want to say it that way. And Trends in the Housing Market goes back. It's going to go into three or 4 years now. A lot of my old stuff got taken down. Morning Coffee with Mike. Housing discussion. Rants and lifestyle. Oh my God. So there's a petition going on. Guys, to get me out of town. My local town. All right, there's people watching. Could somebody hit me up in the comments, please? Gemini Crew, so Omni64 and Dang 0088. Oliver St. John is in the house. Always watching. Always keeping close to Mike in the night. I decided to start a little bit early tonight. I don't know. I just don't have much going on right now at the house. It's kind of quiet here. And decided to start a little bit early tonight. So we'll have people jump on board. I went live today at the store just to talk. And I'm getting more threatening calls at the shop. I love those calls, man. I'm recording them, just uploading them to YouTube, man. Eventually, people will find out who is who and what is what. Juggernaut's in the house. And, yeah, channel news. Haven't posted nothing recently to the community. Just the showtimes. And a couple of jokes. Australian house prices falling once more. Oh, they're going to go back. Australian housing prices are going to go back, especially in Sydney. Sydney needs to go back about 20 quarters of fake growth. Anything that grew that was fake, it has to go back down to reality. That's it. If the people and income cannot stimulate or drive a housing market like it's supposed to, the Australian proper, the Canadian proper, the UK proper, if they can't afford to buy in their own country, it's over. Game's over. Housing is going to have to come back to reality, right? Yeah, you guys know on my channel here, the government's preventing everything from... They don't want to leave anything on autopilot anymore. When you go here, Canada, New Zealand housing collapse. These 5 U.S. cities are ready for collapse. And the 5 cities in the U.S. that are ready for collapse, houses are on median home level of 140,000, 200,000. People can't afford those homes. Australian money laundering fiasco. Australians' biggest developer goes bust. Oh, there's so many. Australian housing casino here. How low could we go? And the how low could we go, I can actually explain that. We have to retract the quarters. Because if you look at Perth, for example, Perth, it's going down now 20 quarters, consecutive quarters, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Nope, not 20, 18 quarters. So it's got another 4 to 8 more quarters for Perth to be within a reasonable level for the average person to buy. I'm going to take people's savings in order for investors to make profit. How sad. And all right, guys. All right. So let's move on here. All right, guys, don't forget to support me on Patreon if you want to buy a coffee. I got 11 Patreons now buying me coffee once a month, $1 a month. And don't forget to find me on Minds.com. If you want to get off of Facebook, Minds.com is the best alternative. All kinds of cool stuff on there without the drama. And don't forget to check me out on The Dirty. Mike is a dirty, fat liar, fraud, and a fake. Check it out, guys. It's got 42 comments on it. It's growing, man. Lots of hate on here. Check it out, guys. Check it out. Okay, we got Briggs in the house. Belinda Lee Mercer. I just want to say, send her prayers out to her. Her father passed away. I think it was, hold on, today's Friday. I think he passed away on Wednesday night. Wednesday or Thursday morning. So I want to send out prayers to Belinda Lee Mercer for her passing of her father. And let's keep him in our prayers tonight. All right, let's kick off some news or what's going on or what I guess we should be aware of. Oliver St. John, people struggling in New Zealand. Oh, yeah, people struggling to buy food. I did that video here, guys, if you want to go check out the older Mike in the Nights here. Right here. Middle class can't afford food. Then I did one 3 weeks before that, like a month and a half ago, the disappearing middle class. And all kinds of stuff. The death of the pension. That's an important one. So let's get over to Zero Hedge on today's news on what's going on. Okay, FBI opens probe after Jeffrey Epstein dies in apparent suicide. I don't care. I'm not gonna waste time talking about. Do you waste time talking about garbage in Do you waste time talking about garbage in the recycling bin? I don't. So let's just move on. Mapping which states will allow military-style weapons. Okay, so there's just like one in the middle here. What is that? New Mexico. In both shootings, in fact, weapons were were acquired legally. The problem is this is my opinion. Okay, guys. They're trying to take away guns from the common citizen instead of taking it away from the criminals. And I don't know if anyone else is seeing that. I don't know what the common citizen has to do with somebody who shouldn't have a gun. Right? Okay. Washington's utterly failed diplomacy, of course. When you inherit, I don't care who got in as president. If anybody, it didn't matter who got in as president. Inherited a failed country already. That's not on the brink of failure, but already mass failure. And not only that, but just with administration over administration of broken promises. So, just blame the one guy that walked in. And blame everything on him, right? That's usually how it goes, eh? Blame the next administration. The Great Migration. Wealthy Gen Xers are moving to these states. Okay, so there's a lot of people moving to other states to live a better life because the cost of living is lower. And that's intermigration. We discussed that on the channel here many times. Too tired system of justice. Top FBI officials escape prosecution while others pay a heavy price. Of course. JP Morgan, the Fed will need to resort to QE soon. Oh, yeah. They need a lot of quantitative easing to keep this thing going. They got the printing press on full blast. Okay, Nick is saying, "Hi Mike, how's it going? Get worse slowly, or do we fall off a cliff?" No, it's gonna be. They're gonna keep lowering interest rates and go into negative interest rate territory, and then what they're gonna start doing is they're gonna start doing bail-ins, and then they're gonna start. First, they're gonna get rid of cash, so then you can't get a runoff. So the banks don't get a runoff on wealth. And it's just going to go for a while. It's not going to be a sudden death. It's not going to be quick. Nobody has my phone number. I don't know who's texting me. Oh, it's my neighbor. I'm live, sorry. All right. Neighbor's asking if I'm awake. JP Morgan, the Fed will need to resort to QE soon. They're going to have to print. They're going to have to do what they can to keep this thing going. The more they do, the more propping they do, guess what? The more damage they're going to create. Okay, what's going on here? So we got Three Right Guys Gaming Podcast, who's my new agent, who's going to work on we're going to see if we can get David Icke on the show. David Icke is a very humble person. He goes on every show and everybody's channel he goes on. It doesn't matter. And he gets his word out there, right? All right. Federal judges are waging war on the Fourth Amendment. Highway robbery has been legally sanctioned and encouraged by all branches of federal government, so the state and local police forces can only accurately be understood is roadway pirates. What are roadway pirates? Well, police asking for money up front or asking for items in your vehicle, and like when I was in Mexico, I was with a friend. We were parked in the car. We were just waiting for a couple other friends to show up, and Buddy drove up. Police car drives up. Federales. They get out of the car, start looking around at the car, and the guy says, asked me if I was gringo, and I say, I told him I was a northern Mexican. Yo soy norteño. I told him I was northern. And he's like, he asked me what I was doing there. And I said, oh, we're just hanging out. He's like, okay. Estamos aquí, pasando el tiempo. And he goes like, all right. And he goes, do you have a permit to be parked here? And then I'm like, permiso. I'm like thinking, what permit does this guy want? My friend goes, just give him 200 pesos. I'm like, oh. And I asked him, can I buy a permit to park here? Yeah, how much is it? 200 pesos. I'm like, okay. Gave him 200 pesos. He left. That's it. Well, that's what's happening with highway robbery or pirates, right? And this is in 1984, as part of Ronald Reagan's renewed war on drugs, the Drug Enforcement Administration launched Operation Pipeline. This program was inspired by the strategies employed by state troopers in New Mexico who, after pulling someone over, asked specific questions designed to determine whether the driver might be a drug trafficker? Okay, this is something else. I know about police pulling over people and extorting them, but drug trafficker, combined with financial incentives of federal grants. Okay, guys, you know what? Just do what Portugal did. Okay, I'm a Portuguese. We're always 50, 100 years ahead of everything else. Legalize drugs, decriminalize drugs, and make drugs a sickness, not a crime. Done. Portugal did it. They created dissuasion centers. You don't have trafficking. You don't have anything. Prisons are empty. And there was one drug overdose, and that wasn't a Portuguese. That was an English guy visiting the Algarve and ended up dying of an overdose. You know? And to train officers how to legally harass drivers. Yeah, which prohibits warrantless searches without probable cause. The ruling was justified out of concern for officer safety? What officer safety? You have your hands on the hood. Or they have you handcuffed on the back of their car. What officer safety? That's what I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. So what they do to get this stuff in and start crushing the amendments that were put in place by the Founding Fathers, what they start doing, because once America does this, Canada's like there, like stormtroopers into Poland. Canada's right there. Oh, America, we can do this too. America's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Stormtroopers into Poland. Fast. All right. Skype message coming in from JT. Hey Mike, long hauler, blowing my horn, literally on my way to Utah, listening to Mike in the Night. Thank you so much, JT. So everyone's asking if this guy, this Epstein guy, his list and this and that. I couldn't care less. I like I said, we don't talk about. I don't want to waste my time with garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I talk about the garbage in the recycling bin for 2 hours? I don't think so. It's like, you know, people that are. And lists, anyone can make a list to frame people. Yeah, this one's a little bit dangerous, guys. Pay attention to this. U.S. credit card interest rates hit highest level in 25 years as economy slows. Fed eases. Well, they're going to raise rates just like they raise property taxes. When your property value goes down in your house and you take a hit on your equity, they raise property taxes. Woo! All right. U.S. credit card interest rate hit the highest levels in 25 years. The average rate on interest-bearing and card accounts dropped 17% in May, according to the Fed data, the highest in 25 years. Central Bank has been making the calculation. Weekly data based on creditcards.com's survey of 100 national card issuers found the average of 17.8% by the end of July, another multi-decade high. So it's going to happen, guys. They're going to keep raising interest rates. Anyways, Mike in the Nights. One share. Probably one out of every one American has at least minimum one credit card in their wallet, and this has been shared one time. It just goes to show. So, guys, before we get to tonight's show, I kind of want to understand the psychology, or maybe even get better educated on what's happening. We've had so many shootings. I think the U.S. had 200. I think it's 230. I think they're on par for one shooting a day. Let's find out how many shootings they've had, mass shootings. (2019). Oh, there's a Wikipedia list on there. 382. So, 382 mass shootings. Oh, as of August 5th, there was on the 217th day of the year, there have been 255 mass shootings in the U.S. Sorry, correcting myself. 255 mass shootings. Here they are. Well, they got the most, some of them here. So, guys, like, this is very serious. Because I think we're losing touch with reality. I think we're losing touch on who we are. And I think I know what the problem is. And I'm not going to get all religious on you guys. But I love you guys. So what do I got? I'm going to play a little clip here from a good friend of us. A good friend, Paul Harvey, from 1985. It is 3 minutes in length, so I need you guys to... I'll break it down. I'll break down the audio.
If I were the devil. If I were the devil.
Yeah.
If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be...
Doesn't that ring a bell to what's happening right now?
happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin...
Yeah. You like how I just paused that just to say, yeah. Because, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Let's bring it back a bit here.
...with the United States.
Why the United States? It's the last bastion of freedom. It's the Constitution, the American Constitution, it's what's keeping the entire English-speaking country or Western society still together as a whole. Once that goes, other countries will follow suit and say, well, if America's doing it and they're the world police, then we could do this to our people too. And then everything just chaos in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom.
I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. Yeah. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach...
Yeah, it's like 2 + 2 = 13. That's what they want you to believe, right?
To pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting.
That's what's happening in our medium.
Threaten TV with dirtier movies, and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills.
Yeah.
If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames.
Yeah, that's so true to the word, guys. Yeah. Let's keep going. Tranquilize. I'm trying to read the comments as we go here, guys, okay?
If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door.
I'm going to take a moment of silence for that, because that was just hit right out of the park right there. This is a prediction, guys. Okay, from 1965 AD.
Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
That's powerful. The ambitious. Once you lose your fire, once you lose your ambition, you're light. Don't you know? Remember the outsider, stay golden, pony boy. That's very important.
And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned.
Another one.
That swinging is more fun. That what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul Harvey.
So that's from Paul Harvey, guys. I wanted to kind of throw that out there before we get into these mass shootings. I'm just kind of thrown for a curveball. The amount of so I'm getting a message here. China government agents tore down a wall that Hong Kongers made in Sydney on a university campus to protect China and what they are doing in Hong Kong. Basic people from Hong Kong are protesting China in Australia, and China sent in their agents to intimidate them on Australian soil. Okay, send me a link, bud. I got your thing open here. Send me a link to that. We got a couple of insiders working in the back end of this transmission. And yeah. So, 219, what is it? 255 mass shootings. Tracks every mass shooting in the country. Gun Violence Archive. Total numbers of incidences. This is total 34,087. Number of deaths 9,037. Number of injuries 17,863. Number of children injured or killed from 0 to 11, 402. This is, and you look at all, it's mainly on, look at the East Coast, it's completely. So this is from January 1st to August 10th, 2019. It's so heavily penetrated along Florida, all the way up the East Coast here, all the way up to New York. Man, there's not a... Is this being staged to take the guns away? Is this real? But one thing I want to know is, why is this happening? Is it because we are, I guess, moving ourselves further and further and further away from reality? Oops. So this was sent to me by SBS News. Lenin Wall vandalism spreads to University of Sydney. The University of Sydney has criticized protesters who were caught on camera tearing down the colorful installation erected by pro-Hong Kong students. The University of Sydney has criticized protesters with the colorful installation which has littered the democratic message of critical of China and totalitarianism, has been inspired by similar murals across Hong Kong and around the world. So, we actually covered this, guys, quite a whiles back on the channel, before there was even any disputes here in Hong Kong. And it was this one here. If you go Mike in the Night, the New Generation, and it's right here. We were talking about Mike in the Night, Darwin, Australia.
They've somehow Paris.
There's a Supreme Canon on there with me, and how they have their social credit score, and they're bringing it to Darwin, Australia. The social credit score is going to Australia, and the politicians living in Darwin, Australia, sold out to the Australians and went to China to learn this technology. So here's the problem. They started with this in the 80s, technologically started advancing. In the early 80s, the Chinese regime or communists had, they had lists going back to the 50s and 40s. I'm talking about they started intensifying their lists on data computers and diskettes in the early 80s, and creating lists of potential problems and potential this and potential that. And then up until the early 90s, the Chinese started installing cameras. And it wasn't a secret. They were luring the Chinese into believing that this is a safe haven for them. This will protect them from the evil invaders. Yeah. Now we got to the point where they're at the level of 5G, and there's no dark corner in China. You are being visualized and you are being monitored. Even, I'm not sure if you're being monitored. Like, I think you're in the monitored in even private areas. Not too sure. So, let's keep going here. All right, let's bring up some more protests in Hong Kong. So we're talking about shootings, gun violence, and protests in Hong Kong. We know what's going on. It's a two-party system, one country, blah, 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 and honk. Let's see what the fake news has got going on. Courts. Let's see if there's anything live. So if you were under a rock the whole time, basically China wants to start basically doing a takeover of Hong Kong in a way where they want to start extraditing criminals that are hiding in Hong Kong to China. Then they want to start doing this, and they want to start doing that, and blah, blah, blah. And then it becomes a total spin of lies, and people are already in problems, right? So I kind of support Donald Trump with what he's doing to China, because you know what? They're persecuting Christians in China. So they're actually, like, you are basically, they're persecuting Christians, and we've been talking about this for a while here on this channel, and see, crackdown on religion in China. Look at this. August 7, 2019. Crackdown on religion in China is the worst in 40 years. And this is from a week ago. No, 4 days ago. China pushes Christians to stay quiet about persecution. So, I keep telling you, we're being persecuted. I'm a Roman Catholic, born and raised. I'm Portuguese. And China pushes Christians to stay quiet about persecution. We're going to persecute you and your family, but don't talk about it. There we go. Anyone who buys Chinese-made goods supporting the persecution of Christians. There you go. I'm not, I never was too fond about China and their ways. Never was. I saw them more as a bully to their people. I saw them, not the Chinese people as a whole, but I'm talking about their leadership and governance. I mean, America's not a saint, neither is Canada, but I mean, I'm here talking to you guys. I'm not in fear that someone's going to come and kick my door in and arrest me for talking. Until that day comes, then we should. Until that day happens, then we should all be in fear. But what were we looking at here? Yeah, I'm very anti of what's happening here with China. Just then they're going to go after Macau, Portuguese China, and then yeah, after they're done with Hong Kong, because Macau, for me, as holding a Portuguese passport, gainfully gives me employment there, gives me entry, and lets me allowed to work there with a Portuguese passport in Macau, Portuguese China. But they're after they take over English China, Hong Kong. They're just going to move across to Macau. Yeah, Metal Gear Mark III makes a great point. China would probably be a worse. Imagine China was the world police. Just imagine that for 3 seconds. And China doesn't like Taiwan either. Guys, you know, I'm going to recommend the movie again. Everyone that's watched this movie, it's Martin Scorsese's movie. Everyone that has watched this movie from my channel, about 22% of people have messaged me back and said it was the best movie they've ever seen. So I'm going to request a movie for you guys to watch. It is on Netflix, hit and miss. They take it off, put it on, take it off. You could probably torrent it. There's ways to get it, right? But it's Martin Scorsese's film here. And this is what's happening kind of now in China in a way, where they're persecuting Christians. So here it is, guys. I'm just going to kind of fast forward here so I don't get...
into the whole world. And preach into the whole world.
It's about the Portuguese Portuguese priests and stuff. Because a lot of people don't know this, but the Portuguese were 289 years longer in Asia than any other culture. The Portuguese were the first to arrive in Japan, the first to bring firearms, and arigato is a Portuguese word, right? Obrigado, right? So there's a lot of similarities in the Japanese and Portuguese languages if you pay attention. Tantakoro means lots of heart in Japanese. Tantakoro in Portuguese means lots of heart. So, all right, let's get to... I really want to recommend to watch this, guys, because this might give you a little wake-up call.
Our Lord said to them, "Go ye into the whole world and preach the gospel to every living creature."
So it's by Paramount Pictures, and the film is just incredible.
Ferreira is lost to us.
That's Father Ferreira,
Peter.
one of the major priests in a Portuguese priest that set out to do missions in Japan.
Announced God in public and surrendered the faith.
That's not possible. Father Ferreira risked his life to spread our faith all over Japan.
It seems to me that our mission here is more urgent than ever. We must go find Father Ferreira.
This is in your hearts.
So they leave Lisbon,
and I must trust God has put it down.
But the movie gets really intense real fast.
You set foot in that
So they head over to Portuguese China.
High danger.
They go to Macau. So at this time, Portuguese China was there. I'm gonna lower this here so you don't hear the music doesn't flag my video. So Portuguese arrive. Missionaries keep arriving, and the Japanese are persecuting Portuguese priests for spreading Christianity, right? And these priests go through a lot. And this is a very intense, emotional story. It's taken from true events. And it's called Silence. Let me see if I can put some audio in.
We asked for this mission.
Andrew Garfield's in it, plays a really good role in this. This guy's a great actor. Liam Neeson. Very true story. Guys, check that out. All right, let's get on the horn here with some people on the phone. Let's see who's out there. Let's get some people on the show. It's called Silence, guys. Just watch it. A lot of people, it's a big eye opener. All right, let's get some people on the show. Find out what's going on out there, guys. Gun violence. More problems. I don't even, like, what article do I open? Protests. There's 19 million results. Hit and run rallies in Hong Kong. All right, let's see if we can get on the who do we got here? Sorry, guys, I'm kind of pausing here. Reading the comments at the same time here with you guys. Mike of the night. All right, who's on? Let's get Leaf on. We got to get Leaf on first because he's in the East Coast and it's getting late there.
How's it going, Mike?
What's up, dog? How you doing?
Not too bad. How you doing?
You know how it is. You win some, you lose some.
So what do you want to tackle or discuss?
Well, you got a choice between protests in Hong Kong, Chinese persecuting Christians, and asking Christians to stay quiet about persecution, and the crackdown on religion in China is the worst in 40 years. Are we reliving history? What is going on?
The Christians have been persecuted in China for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember about the bad blood scandal?
Tell us.
They infected a bunch of the Chinese Christians with AIDS using blood the blood and shit. That was a while ago. I'll look it up right now.
Okay, you know.
Chinese Christians. This was back like 20, 30 years ago. But it's been going on for a while. They don't want religion in mainland China because that goes against the government. You know about Falun Gong too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it was like a health and wellness practice. It was like Tai Chi or something like that. And it was becoming massively adopted. It was very peaceful. It was just people getting exercise. At first, the government supported it. But then they saw how much it was growing and challenging their authority, or they feared it would challenge their authority, so they shut it down. And they've been harvesting the organs of Falun Gong practitioners for a while now. And the article link that I sent you before about the people in Sydney, Australia at the university, those were basically Hong Kong students, international students that were based in Sydney, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
They set up a mural denouncing what the government's doing because they don't support that. They want Hong Kong to remain independent, a part of China independent. Well, some of them want it to be they want what Taiwan has now at this point. It's getting bad. But the point of the matter is they set up a protest. They put up some nice, they set up a mural, a wall. And what happened was the next day, a bunch of Chinese agents that work for the government in China approached the students at the Australian university, intimidated them, and tore down their mural. Now, that's basically a foreign government sending in their government agents to harass people in a foreign country, be it Australia. That's a big thing.
Well, Australia penal colony is penal colony 1 is Canada, penal colony 2 is America, penal 3 is UK, penal 4 is Australia, and penal colony 5 is New Zealand. Penal colony 4, which was at one point Australia. Australia doesn't even exist anymore right now.
But the point is, that would be like, say, the Chinese government was invading Portugal, your home country, your fatherland, and you were protesting it at Vancouver University. Mm-hmm. Because you're Portuguese, and then all of a sudden the Chinese government shows up here in Canada and then intimidates you en masse.
Right, I get what you're saying, but Australia, I mean, they're letting so much happen in their own backyard. And
I know.
Yeah.
I just think, well, this actually has happened in other countries. This happened in the U.S. There was a Falun Gong protest in New York a couple of months back, and the Chinese government showed up there. So the Chinese government has no problem sending foreign agents to other countries to stage protests or and get violent. Almost like Antifa, except they're paid. Mm-hmm. Or, it's not really real activism. It's more like agents or, I don't know. I think that's a big thing. It's pretty brazen of them to pull that kind of stuff in our countries. They're basically sending it. They're sending in their secret police into our countries to harass our people.
Of course they are. That's what they got to do. I mean, that's what they want to strong arm and show their reach. They want to show how much reach they got.
That would be like me as a Canadian, multi-generation Canadian Anglo-Saxon, setting up a protest on China because they're kidnapping our citizens over the Hawaii executive. Mm-hmm. I do a protest in Vancouver, and all of a sudden a bunch of Chinese agents, secret police, show up in Vancouver and start harassing me. Can you imagine? Yeah. Other countries' governments are strong-arming our citizens. It's a slippery slope, and we're letting it go on with the international students. What happens before it's us being targeted? Like, where do we draw the line and be like, if you're a foreign spy, you're supposed to register in another country too, right? It's breaking law. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are sleeper agents, and a lot of people are in as tourists too, right?
Yeah, I know. I just find it really surprising and open brazen. Mm-hmm. So there's that, and as far as the Christians being persecuted, that's been going on for ages. They suppressed Buddhism. You know about the Cultural Revolution. They tore down their own temples and all their culture. There's a reason if you go to Taiwan, there's more Chinese culture in Taiwan than there is in mainland China. Mainland China's become some soulless creature. Communism killed everything.
I went to Taiwan. I've been to Taiwan twice, and
it feels more ethnic Chinese than the mainland, for Christ's sake. That's why.
Yeah, I like Taiwan a lot. The people there are very welcoming, very kind. I was surprised Like, it's not like I went there thinking it was going to be... No, I just was very surprised how very welcoming everybody is in Taiwan.
Yeah, mainland China keeps threatening Taiwan that they're going to invade them. And they've been doing...
I think they will, not invade, but I think it will start pushing in policies and stuff and starting to kind of do...
Taiwan's independent. It was set up by the Kuomintang. That's not going to happen.
No, I understand what you're saying. But I think what they're going to do is just going to try and get somebody illegally elected into Taiwan that's pro-Chinese, and then just say, "Hey, why don't you come here?"
They can try, but I doubt it'll ever happen. And another thing is the military option that China has that window is slowly moving away, because Taiwan's developing advanced cruiser missiles now. So even if they ever did invade one, they could if they build up enough cruiser missiles, they could level all of the eastern seaboard of China's mainland cities and put them to ash. You don't need nuclear weapons to drop we have very powerful weapons that are non-nuclear now, right? So if they start building those under cruise missiles, then the Chinese would... I view Taiwan as an independent country. I don't know why.
I've been to Taiwan. I've been there twice, and I view it as an independent country. They stamp my passport just like an independent country will, to have their own currency.
I actually view Taiwan as the actual they're the legitimate Chinese government. The communist one's the non-legitimate one, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They're a banana republic. You know, they're not even communist anymore. They're more like, who is Xi Jinping? He's the CEO of people.
He's the CEO of people, and he announced himself Emperor of China.
Yeah, I know. Like they don't even care about their citizens anymore. They're more like maintaining the status quo of corrupt elites. Mm-hmm. You ever think about all the rich Chinese that come here to Canada? They buy up places in Markham, Richmond. Mm-hmm. You realize that's not coming from the main Chinese people. Most of these fucking rich people, they're all the government officials' kids creeping their way into our countries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In a good, there's
you ask any of the rich people. You go to Markham, you see people driving these high-end vehicles and luxury cars and shit. You ever ask yourself where do they got the money? It's all freaking communist government money.
It is. It's
all these young kids driving, going to the university, overcrowding our schooling system, buying up all the real estate. These aren't normal, good, hardworking working capitalists from Asia. What they are, if you ask any of them, they all have ties to the CPP. It's their children. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
And a lot of them, I understand. It's an opinion. A lot of them.
But people don't put two and two together. They never really make the freaking gap to think. Ever take the time to think one day, who are all these rich people coming to Canada? They're all the communists' offspring. It's the second generation Chinese rich. They have a word for it in Mandarin. And we give these people hospitality, which is retarded, because we're supposed to be against everything that these people stand for. This dictatorship, this authoritarian government. We're supposed to be the West, the defenders of democracy. Yet we're letting their rich buy up and enslave our own people and are leaving our people in squalor. Everything's backwards.
Well, the problem is this. Canada's competing for rich Chinese workers. Here's the article. I bring this up once a month. Canada wants more Chinese workers, students and tourists. Immigration minister says they are competing, and you go down the article. I've read this a few times for you guys because this is a big eye-opener. Visas have been increasing from China to 500,000 per year, but opening more offices could help Canada compete for Chinese workers and lucrative tourist business. So, hello. We are opening our doors and we are competing. It's not just Canada. Western United States is competing because their housing market in the Western United States is completely out of proportion. And the American proper has to move east to other states like Texas and Arizona to afford anything. You got all Canada's major cities, 2 major cities are completely bought out. And the Canadian proper doesn't have much of a choice when it comes to choice for other cities. Then you got UK is under this same umbrella, and so is Australia and New Zealand. Everyone's competing for the rich investors. That's what they want. That's what's going to make Canada more lucrative, is by bringing in more people. But what happens to the people in the country?
Yeah, I know. It's disgusting. We don't care about our own people. All the elites, all they do is care about themselves and pumping their own money banks. But a side point, PK 3500L said something. He said, why is China building dozens of icebreaker ships? Well, I can tell you why. because China thinks that they're going to be bullying us next about our northern Arctic opening. Oh yeah. So they're going to kidnap our citizens, bully us and shit, and then they think, oh, we're just going, And it's funny, America's not even backing us up. They're trying to say, right now, America's trying to say, oh, the northern ice passageway, that's because the snow is melting, it's very loud, a lot of resources, a lot of oil, gas, all that. America's saying, oh, that's an international passage. It belongs to the world. Bullshit. It's fucking right on our freaking. If there's an oil tanker that blows up or whatever, or has an accident, or a cruise ship has an accident, who do you think they're going to be calling to bail them out and clean up the mess or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Us, because it's right on our international waters, but no one's respecting it. But China's right now building a bunch of icebreakers to get some of those Canadian resources as if they belong to them. We should be. I personally think our government, if we had a proper government, we should be setting up some anti-naval missiles. So if they want to come to our territory, be like, dude, we can blow you up. Get out of our territory. You can't just invade our airspace, or you can't just invade our international or not our territorial waters. Everyone's just walking over us right now since Trudeau seized power. It's sad and it's angry.
So what do you see happening in Hong Kong in the next week or two?
I don't know what I do know is that Hong Kong is not going to pull through. I don't think Hong Kong is going to pull through at all. What I think, and I can't put a time frame on, but what I think is going to happen is the PLA military is going to probably invade them. They're going to end up getting invaded because the mainland's not going to put up. It's making them look bad, and it's starting to piss them off. The powers that be at Beijing, to them, this is like, who do you people think you are? You think you can talk shit about us? We can freaking invade you. And what country is going to come to your aid? You are belonging to our territory. We can just rip apart that two-party, one-country system. It's the sad truth. And there's nothing the Hong Kong people can do, sadly. Mm-hmm. Unless we decide to come to their aid, but then we're talking about a war. They think Taiwan belongs to them. Like, these people are there's not the Chinese government is so out of whack. They don't even realize that all the countries surrounding them right now hate them. They don't know that they have one country that likes them, Cambodia. Vietnam is trying to stab them in the back and take all their manufacturing right now. Mm-hmm. Philippines hates them. Malaysia hates them. Mm-hmm. Japan obviously doesn't like them. Korea doesn't get along with them.
Not even the Philippines.
India doesn't get along with them. They don't got no friends. But if you look on a map, they're pretty boxed in there. If all these countries gang up on them, they're going to end up like the USSR. They're going to get collapsed. Oh, you're not allowed to move your goods through India. Not allowed to move it by trail. Oh, you're not allowed to stay out of our international waters. We're blockading you. You're not allowed to move your shipping. Cut off from the rest of the world. And Japan right now with the TPP, what I think they're doing with that is they're trying to become that leader. Right now, the Chinese Prime Minister, President Abe, right now he's trying to become that. He's trying to fill in that gap when the TPP, Trump tore it up. They came in and they want to replace that. But what is probably like, he wants to be the TPP leader, not because it's just economy. He wants to fuck with China. Japan and China, they don't like each other. And Abe is part of he's on the right side, right wing politically. He wants to remilitarize Japan. It's the third world's largest economy. They remilitarize. That's a big thing. Mm-hmm. Their military would dwarf Russia's. Like, Russia's like, if they're like, we're not giving you back your islands. Okay, well, we're just gonna seize them. We have a bigger army than you, and we're more scary. That's what and then you got the Koreans. The Koreans and the Japanese, they don't get it wrong. They have some bad blood there too. But, when you got a common enemy, it's easy to get all these pieces in the puzzle. What I think is going to happen, maybe 10 years, 20 years from now, where it's going to eventually, there's going to be something built, is probably an Asian Pacific NATO. They're going to box China in because, and America's going to back it, obviously, because they would benefit from this, that they're world power. World power, empires don't want to fall. They want to remain top dog, right?
Yeah.
So what I would be concerned about also is you got North Koreans. The North Koreans, they're trying to sell their nuclear technology to Iran and other groups. That's another problem we have.
But I think North Korea is still a whiles away to actually get something off the ground. They've tried, they've tested, I think they lack a bit still. I think they're gonna get there, but I think they severely lack. So
But
does Iran.
But they still have a lot of nuclear. Or, I mean, not nuclear. They still have a lot of submarines. They have the. I think they have the world's most submarines in North Korea.
I have a friend. I have a friend that was working as one of those guys in Iran. You remember they're sending over those people to check out the nuclear people to go check out their facilities and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a friend that went out that was on one of those teams, and he told me that Iran is almost 50 years away from getting anything.
I don't know.
So
I don't want to. I don't really want to see the. I would rather see the planet denuclearized more countries start independently getting nukes, because then we have a higher chance that some radical regime and shit decides to fire one off one day.
Oh, after the nuke, we're gonna have something right after the nuke. Is something gonna come after the nuke? Everyone says the nuke is the end of all ends. There's something else. I think there's something that's gonna be more devastating than a nuclear missile. It'll come out in the next 5 to 10 years. That's what the military industrial complex is always working on, to always make things more sophisticated and better for the military, right?
But as far as China being a world power, it's going to replace the U.S. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think what's going to happen to China is it's made too many enemies quickly, rubbed too many people of its neighbors the wrong way. What's going to end up happening is it's going to get snuffed out. I don't know, but it's still a problem in the meantime, because they keep trying to softcore bribe our politicians and our oligarchs.
Yeah.
The Chinese, they have a whole map book on how they fight war, and they can do it economically soft style, right? And they even write this in their manuals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, subverting other people's economy. Like, they've taken over Australia's power grid. Australia,
especially with them flooding markets with fentanyl and opioids and stuff, and getting the local Americans and Canadians and Australians and New Zealanders addicted to the opioids, and then recycling that money back into real estate.
Yeah, they're literally killing our people. They're killing us with actual drugs. They're putting us into poverty, buying up our cities, you know, and they're killing us with cheap chemical sprayed products. Yeah, they're a great trading partner, aren't they?
Yeah. Anyways, Leaf, I'm gonna let you go, and keep working on that. Keep working on getting us on. Hopefully, getting us on the one of those big channels there.
I messaged him, so I have to see what email is back, if they email. Okay. And hopefully. I think the Asian capitalist. He said he was going to get back to me around September. He's traveling on vacation.
All right, let's get some more guests on the show so we could promote other channels and other channels could promote us.
Of course.
All right, buddy. You have a good night and stay out of jail, okay?
Of course.
Thanks, buddy.
Ciao for now, buddy.
Yeah. That's 3 Pod Gamer there that's in the comment section, our man Leaf. I want to thank him for coming on and giving us a little bit of insight. We got the Raven. Let's get the Raven. Everyone's raving about the Raven. Everybody's talking about the Raven on the channel. Everyone likes the Raven.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, dog?
How's it going?
It's going, man. All right, Raven. Pick a topic and start talking. Mass shootings. What the heck psychologically is going wrong? Gun violence out of control. Hold on. And we got here protests in Hong Kong, and then we got China pushes Christians to stay quiet about persecution, and China's crackdown on religion is China's worst in 40 years. Pick a topic and talk. What's going on, bud?
I like the Epstein topic that Lord was talking about.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us what you think.
Well, I knew you weren't that interested in Epstein back in the day there when he got arrested, eh? Like, you didn't that one wasn't really on your radar that much, was it? Were you watching that, Mike?
You know what? The whole Epstein thing, I'm going to be really frank with you. I really don't care I don't want to give him as much publicity that he, it's just a bunch of garbage. It's
not Epstein. I don't care about Epstein. I could care less about Epstein. It's who he's got entangled in his web.
Yeah.
It's Clinton. It's now he's just dead in his cell this morning. Come on, like the guy's on suicide watch, and the cameras weren't working in that part of the jet. You know what? They went in and killed him, or they took him out and he's somewhere else now. That's all just a big. And if you can get to the bottom of that, you can get to the bottom of everything. You can get to the bottom of the trade wars. You can get to the bottom of the corruption. You can get to the bottom of this world. If you can figure out every one of those jail guards should be pulled into court. Everybody in that jail. El Chapo was in that jail. He was moved to Supermax. That's a very high security jail.
I know, but El Chapo has escaped from several prisons in Tijuana and Morelios.
Yeah, no, he's not escaping anymore. He's done. And then they got El Mencho now taking over his business. That other guy now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they got big problems in Mexico with hanging people off bridges and chopping them up, and they're all over the place. But that Epstein case, man, he had the goods on Clinton. I wanted to see Bill Clinton go down.
Do you think he'll be alive when or they're gonna wait till he passes on to start releasing stuff so it doesn't look too bad, or like, what do you think?
There's 2,000 pages. There's 2,000 pages regarding Epstein's original case, and that was Acosta. That was Trump's labor secretary Acosta that gave him that deal back in the day. That's why Acosta had to step down, because it was just too good of a deal. But there's 2,000 pages, sealed pages with powerful people's names that are all in that child sex trafficking ring that were having sex with Prince William. Prince William's in there. These people need to be held accountable. You can't just brush this away. Oh, he's dead now. It's all over. No. Let's just take a look a little deeper here, and let's see why this guy actually died in jail. He was on suicide watch. You don't leave him alone. Everybody knew he was going to be killed in there. There were people doing YouTube videos. When's he going to be killed in jail? When's he going to be killed? What a joke. I thought we used up all the coincidences on 9/11. I guess we're still having coincidences.
Yeah.
It's just a little too much.
Yeah.
There's
just really too much that fall into place so perfectly, and it was just perfectly timed at the right place at the right time. It's almost like the hand of God was there to make sure it all went right?
Yeah. So if you want to think about the deep state, the cabal, if you want to really find the truth, take a good look at the Epstein case. That's where it is. If you can, because it's right there. Who killed him? Don't let this fall away. Don't let it go be mothballed and put on a shelf. Let's dig into this. Let's get every one of those guards in that jail. You're going to court. Everyone. Let's figure this out. That guy didn't hang himself. There's no way for him to hang himself in that jail. There's no way for him to do it. They had eyewitness testimony that he can't. There's no rope. Everything's taken from you. You're on suicide watch. They don't give you rope to hang yourself.
Okay, Raven. Here's the deal. It's not just Epstein and the guards and everyone in the prison. You got to get all the judges over the years that acquitted him, all the judges that put him on this, all the judges, everybody that was involved, and all the juries. And you need to go back to square one and start pulling out names and putting up faces on walls, on the wall, and start pinning up people's faces. Who's connected to who's connected to what? Why was she acquitted him 10 years ago? Why wasn't he caught when he was here? Who allowed that plane to land there? Was Bill Clinton seen with him? Then you have to start breaking it all down, talking to pilots on planes, talking to stewardesses, talking to everybody. And that's what I'm talking about. It's a huge, grand kibosh of...
You're exactly right. But the only way they do that? Russian collusion. Look at how much they go on that Russian collusion. They dissect it, and they look. But when it comes to something serious, where we have them, we got them. Who are these people in those sealed indictments? Who got the sweetheart deals in this Epstein? It's all right here. Let's see. We can look at it. No, you want to go after bogus Russian collusion. You have no evidence. You have no proof. You have nothing really. But we have it all right now. Let's break it open and look at it. Let's see who the elites are. Let's see who's making these hits. Is it the Vatican? Is it Mossad? Is it who is it Russian? Is it the Russians? Is it the rich banking families? Who's doing it? We got it right now. Let's crack this open and take a look. They're too powerful. You're never going to get a look. And it's all going to be brushed off as coincidence, just like 9/11.
You know,
and we're going to be
if they spent 3% or 5% of what they did on this Russian collusion on the Epstein case, oh my God.
Yeah.
5% of the energy of this Russian collusion. 5%. Oh my God. You have no idea. Just the 5% that they could uncover is just, they haven't even scratched the surface.
Well, they spent $60 million investigating Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, and they only spent $600,000 investigating 9/11.
Really?
I get
it?
Yeah. If my memory serves me right, yeah, I think that's what it was.
Six. Wow.
Yeah, and in their 9/11 investigation, they said a bag of thermite wouldn't burn through the roof of a car.
Of course it will. It takes like
that's funny, Mike, because I was a thermite welder for 13 years on the railway, and I was burning right through the head of a rail, and that's an inch and a half thick of steel. I'm burning right through that with thermite, and you're telling me you can't burn through the roof of a car with a bag of thermite?
A bag.
I'll tell you what.
You just need a little sprinkle of thermite on there, and it'll burn right through.
Well, you need a little bit, but a bag will go right through. It'll actually go right through the transmission too. It'll go right through the car. But they said on there that it wouldn't on their investigation. Oh yeah, it's not strong enough to do. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got myself in a lot of trouble on YouTube with comments on the 9/11 sites there. Fired them up pretty good.
So
yeah.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen in Hong Kong in your opinion?
Well, that Xi Jinping, he's got a problem there. Like it's testing. Like they said the other day, they said we don't want you to think that we're showing a sign of weakness by not acting. He's in a bad situation. That's a hard one. Like Leaf said there, they may storm. You know what I think? I think they're going to do something, and it's going to be violent, but it's also going to be a show of force to the U.S. Don't screw with us. You're screwing with us with the trade wars. They dropped the yuan below the handle of 7 there. Mm-hmm. That was just a quick little drop, which I don't think was really anything. But I think they may go in and show a sign of force. They're already training their soldiers to come in for combat. But isn't it great that they use those lasers to knock out the AI cameras and the police? They're using all those laser pointers. Mm-hmm. You ever watch that on the news?
Yeah, I saw that Star Wars lasers, the laser pointers you use at school.
Yeah, it's genius because they actually knock the cameras out. Like it'll actually screw the camera up to where it breaks, on some of them.
I did not know that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
It's genius. I never knew that, but some tech obviously knew that, and they started doing it. But what's with the triads running in and beating up protesters? The people in the white shirts, they say they're coming in and hitting people with sticks. And another thing, all the signs, the protest signs, a lot of them were in English. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe that's for the world, or some people were saying it was American, instigated.
Well, Hong Kong's dream is to be British American, right, or Western values. So I think they're just showing that as a sign of the westernization in Hong Kong, or the sign of we don't write in Chinese. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm trying to say, right? I'm looking at this picture here. Everything's in English written.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Macau,
it's for the world, I think it's them showing, because the world's more predominantly English. So if it's Chinese, we don't know what their argument is, right?
Yeah. Like when I went to Macau when I was a kid, a lot of the streets and everything was still in Portuguese, right? And it was Portuguese China for almost, I don't know how many, like 400 years, right? So, but I'm saying, they at least respectfully kept that and kept it. But Hong Kong's in a situation because they are connected directly to the mainland, right? And You know, Macau isn't, Taiwan isn't, right? They're separated by water, right? So it's kind of, you know, they're in a precarious situation. And now with China bashing or basically telling Christians that get persecuted to stay quiet. I mean, like, so where does the silencing efforts come from? A major tool used against the church is investigations focus on not only your involvement in the church, but you're expected to talk about, for example, does the church have any connection with outside churches? Have there been foreign speakers? Oh yeah, they're trying to cut down the church big time in especially Roman Catholicism in China.
You know, I'm not a super religious person. I went to church growing up in that. I don't ever want to direct anybody away from being religious, because who am I to say whether or not you have a soul or me? I don't want to be responsible for someone to not get into heaven. I try to look at life with common sense, and I see how easily this planet is led this way or that way, and how much people don't want to peel the layers of the onion back. They just want to look at their cell phones and that. I see that a lot of the church in the world as a means of being led, and putting your mind at ease. Okay, that's the way I'm going to go. I just I have doubts about church and all that.
Okay, Raven. Let's call a spade here, okay? Let's say Roman Catholicism is not real. It's just something that was put together. Let's just say. Then why are they making a big deal out of it? Why don't they just leave it alone? You get what I'm saying? Oh, these guys are mentally ill. They believe that there's a sky dad or whatever. Then why don't they just leave them alone? Why are they persecuting people for, you know what I'm saying?
The church is a way to lead people. It's a way to control people. The Freemasons know that. Once you get to that 33rd level, you realize how they'll teach you the secrets of how to control through newspapers, and it's a control method. That's the way I see it. People need to be led. They want to be led. There's only so many that want to be leaders, and there's a great majority that want to be led. And then there's a small group. Most of the people who are probably in your chat room right now, the critical thinkers. That's the group. Like, I like the critical thinkers, the people who, you know what? I don't believe what you're saying. I'm not taking that narrative. I want to peel the layer back. Oh, really? Yeah, I want to see what's behind that. Well, you can't look there. Why can't I look behind the curtain? I want to see what's actually going on back there. The church, a lot of people, they don't want to look at that. They just want to be in their safe place, have a happy, this is what's going to happen when I die. I don't have to worry about nothing. And okay, well, that's whatever. I can't go that route. I don't look at that. To me, that's just, I just don't follow that. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I see a lot more people nowadays that just, I ask them and they're like, no, they're like atheist. And I'm like, well, I'm not atheist. I don't believe there's any atheists in the foxhole. That's what they say. And you know, but spiritual maybe. But you're Catholic.
Let's move on to mass shootings. What the heck is going on? Seriously, really? What?
You know what? Can I just jump to a different thing there? Because Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I don't have any cryptos. I do have a hard wallet. I picked one up because I really believe in cryptocurrencies. I really do.
So do I. I just think we're really early on it right now. We're pioneers, basically. It's going to work. It's going to come through. Just like when the car came. Well, I don't remember, but when the car hit the road for the first time, all the politicians and all those mayors were putting the rubber stamps. The car is just a temporary thing, that the horse will continue and the horse will dominate our way of travel. And look what's happened, right? I believe in Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin is the way of the future.
Yeah. I read an article the other day because I think a little different about the whole big picture there. I think the government created Bitcoin. I think that was done in the 90s. Satoshi Nakamoto, whatever his name, I think that's just bull. That's just bull, right? I am believer in that technology, though. Like, I understand it enough to realize that there's worth there. There's value. That's an honesty ledger. That's something that it's in a world like the world we have. That's a very valuable thing, and there's many applications. But I believe that their whole, like, we all seen the Economist magazine with the Phoenix. You know, get ready for a new world currency. 1988 Economist magazine, the Phoenix. They were playing this out back in the 80s. Get ready for a new world currency. It looks just like a Bitcoin on its neck.
It does. My friend Dominic sent me that from Mexico.
Yeah.
That photo of that cover of that image there. Yes.
See, I look really deep at that image. I look at it. I look for clues on the head of that. If you guys all go look at 1980 Economist, you look at the head of that Economist, that Phoenix, from the ashes, the fiat money on fire at its feet.
Let me look it up. What's it called? From the ashes. What was the issue?
Type in 1988 Phoenix Economist. 1980 Economist Phoenix. That's it on Google. You'll pull it up on images. It'll be all over. And I'll point something out to it that I bet you a lot of people haven't noticed.
Here we go. Bitcoin. All right, here it is. I've seen this image many times.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Let me point something out. I'm not looking at it right now. I'm just talking on the phone, but let me know when you're looking at it there.
I am looking at it right now.
Take a look at its head. That little emblem on its head is called a fleur de lis. That's a French symbol from the emperors of France back in the day. That's hundreds and hundreds of years old. That's a fleur de lis that comes from France. Watch Macron's stance on Bitcoin. They were heavily against it. And now they've come out and said that we're going to be the leaders for cryptocurrency. They want to come out and embrace it now. Watch that's a French symbol. That little thing on its head. I look for keys and clues in everything that those people, because they throw you those little crumbs, to follow them along. And they'll give you look at the American dollar bill with the pyramid and the pentagram on it spells Mason, and all the little clues that they throw. They love doing that. I don't know why, but that's just, I figure, a little clue could be a clue.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's lots going on in this image here. There's another one here that I was looking at. Where'd it go?
What I was going to get at, Mike, was I read an article from India. Modi, they put out an article that they're proposing in India that if you use private coins, 10 years in jail or a $7.5 million fine. That article's out there. I read that article just last week. They will only allow you in the future to use their central bank's cryptocurrency, which falls back to exactly what I've been saying. That's a government. The cabal loves to pick other countries. Cyprus, let's do our currency devaluation in Cyprus. Take a portion of their bank account in Cyprus. See what happens.
Go
to Australia.
Yeah, I remember that. That was what, 5 years ago now?
That was a test run.
Yeah.
They don't do it all in the same country. They own them all. Go to Australia. It's a democracy. Run the social credit system in democracy. See how that goes. There's only 25 million people there. Let it run out there. We'll see. Get the world used to it there.
Well, did you see my video I made this morning about cashless and how India, they passed a law, I think it was 2 years ago, where they started destroying their higher denomination bills. And
they pulled the 500 and 1,000 rupee right off. He had 4 hours notice, and he said, and all that dark money, they said cash it in or it's gone.
Yeah, and then the way to cash it in was to open a bank account.
You know, another thing, and you watch the videos on India when that happened, you go through the small towns, people lined up at stores, they couldn't afford anything. And those shopkeepers in India said, here's your groceries, bring me back money when you have it. I noticed that on all those videos that those people in those small countries and in those small towns in India, they did that. I don't think that would happen so much in our maybe in a couple small towns. But
here will be every man for himself.
Yeah. I'm getting my pal going on holidays next week. I'm getting my pal.
Yes.
I put it on for too long.
PAL, guys, for watching, is basically a gun license in Canada.
Yeah.
For people watching overseas, they're not sure what a PAL is. But yeah, you're right about this. Someone sent me this a long time ago, and then someone sent it recently. And, are we being fooled? So, what do you think silver is going to go? Tell me. I believe silver is going to go up, Raven, because I think, in my heart of hearts, I think silver's disappearing. I think we've taken it for granted. It's very costly to get out of the ground, and I think we've used it up a lot of silver, and I don't think we could back even 25% of the derivatives that we have out there, or IOUs that people got, certificates for silver. I don't think they could back those certificates all.
I'm sitting with a lot of silver. A lot. I went 80-20 on silver gold. Silver, 9-1 out of the earth. It's they're not getting any more big discoveries. It all comes down to silver. What do you use for silver? In Canada, the average person, I think, uses 3/4 of an ounce of silver a year through cell phones, toasters, TVs. They can average it to person. In China, I think it's 1/10 of an ounce. If everybody in China bought a toaster, there'd be no silver left on the planet above ground. It's at the, you guys were talking about Exeter's pyramid last week, and they said when it flows through the tip as gold, actually at the tip of the gold is silver. Mm-hmm. It's what's that that guy on there, Dwayne, Chris Dwayne. He does a lot of videos on YouTube. He'll tell you he's all over silver. He loves silver. The best truth never told. I can't remember his website, but it's such a small market, eh? It's so small. With interest rates guaranteed going to zero all across the world. We're not getting out of this.
Oh, no, it's designed for us to fail. But why do they keep pushing it to keep going? That's what I never understood. Why don't they just leave it on damn autopilot? Let it crash.
You know what? There's still room to go. This is going to take a while. The U.S., people say, why are you lowering interest rates if your economy's so good?
Fine, yeah.
You know why they're lowering them? Because they're trying to shorten the spread between their rates and the rates around the world. We're hundreds of basis points above everyone else. We got to lower it. We have to create dollars. We have to lower it. If you watch Peter Navarro, he's an economic guy with on Trump's team there. He'll explain it on Fox. He explains it very well. And he also explains the trade wars very well. There's 7 reasons why we're going after China. And like you said earlier, fentanyl is one of them. They're killing 50,000 Americans a year with their fentanyl.
Yeah, and their synthetic marijuana and all that crap, right?
They have rules in China. If you want to do business here, you have to give us certain parts of your intellectual property. They're killing the U.S. for their cash. They're taking everything from them. And shame on President Obama for letting that happen. Shame on Clinton for signing the World Trade Organization in 2001, getting rid of the Glass-Steagall. Those guys are corrupt. It's the same reason Clinton doesn't want...
The Glass-Steagall Act eventually was going to be taken down. There's no way that they could run amok. The banks needed that freedom. And the banks needed that freedom, so they needed to remove that.
Yeah, but as far as silver goes, I think you're going to see 216. What's the highest silver in 216 was it $20.96?
Was it 2015 it reached 43 or 41?
Oh, no. 2011 it hit $49 and change.
Okay.
And and gold was $1,912 American, right in that range. We're going way past that. I believe way past that. If hold on to your gold and silver, don't get tired of holding it. I've been holding since 2012. Mm-hmm. And and don't. And you think to yourself, well, if I sold that, I could buy that car. Don't do it. Hold your gold and silver. Never give that up. Never give up your gold and silver. Don't sell it. It's going to go into a bubble. There's going to be a time you're going to have to. And if gold skyrockets and silver follows, maybe sell your silver and buy your gold,
But the thing is, silver, the problem with silver is it's hedged so badly against the derivative markets, right? So Deutsche Bank is terrible for this. Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan, I think Deutsche Bank sold more gold certificates, but JP Morgan sold tens of thousands of kilos of silver if not millions of kilos, backed by paper. What's going to happen when these people call in and want their silver, their physical silver?
They're going to get paid out in fiat. Deutsche Bank is a huge silver fixer, and they implicated HSBC, Bank of America, and Scotia Bank. That's the bank I deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a guy come to work the other day. He's a trainee, ex-banker. I actually yelled at him a couple of times, not because he was doing bad at work, but because he was a banker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he told me, Mike?
Mm.
Here, you'll love this. This has to do with housing. He said 12 years. He worked at 8 years at RBC and 4 years at Scotiabank. And this is right from him. He told me this. I went to my bank the next day and confronted them on this. He was a loans officer.
Mm-hmm.
He was told by the manager of Scotiabank, the manager of the branch, that when someone comes in and says, can I get a guarantee on a mortgage for 4 months? Because that's what they'll do. They'll say, okay, it's 3% per 5 years. We'll guarantee that for 4 months, 120 days. Pretty much any bank will do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the let's say 2 months down the road, the interest rates go up to 3.25%. And then say a month later, he finds his house, he comes back in, they do the paperwork. He's told by his manager, you put that interest rate through at 3.25%, and you try to slide that past him without him knowing. That's their mandate at that bank, Scotiabank. I said, how the hell do you put your morals aside knowing that you're ripping that guy off when you promised him a 3% rate? He says, she threatens my job. That's what he said.
Well, there's no difference. What you just told me, there's no difference with me handing you over a suitcase of drugs and you giving me money. There's no difference.
Yeah.
It's immoral.
Yeah.
It's completely immoral. What they try to do now is they're trying to massage us into believing that there's different levels of morality. Well, if you just put a 0.25% interest, it's not going to be that harsh. There's no levels. It's immoral, period.
Yeah. Yeah. And was like Scotiabank 2 years ago, because I have rental properties, my record-keeping fees, they charge you $3.50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Mine went up to $65. And I'm like, what the hell? They took over $1,000 off me before I realized this, and they had to pay me back. And I said, you guys are like a Ponzi scheme off the internet, man. I told them, our circle of trust at this bank is over. I'm on to you guys.
Well, banking, we know this. We've been talking about this for years now. That confidence in banking, consumer banking confidence is dead. It's less than 11% of Australians trust their bank. That's how bad it is.
You know what? In 50 years, 30, 40, 50 years, we're going to look back and go, man, why did we give those criminals access to our money?
Mm-hmm.
Why? When it goes digital and we actually, here's something that no one's heard before. I thought of this the other night. I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but with cryptocurrencies, I have a feeling I know what they're going to do.
Okay, tell us.
Of course, they're going to go central banks. The government's not going to give the power of a nation to people behind computers. Like what's Rothschild's grandfather? Give me the money of a nation. I care not who's in power. They're not giving the power to people holding. They're going to just make Bitcoin's going to be illegal. They're talking about it now. All like India, everything's illegal. 10 years in jail. You use our central. Okay, they'll do it, and they'll do it. But they're going to attach an interest rate to cryptos. They're going to figure out a way of locking an interest rate to whoever has cryptos, and there's going to be a payment scheme coming off for you to have cryptos. That's what they're going to do. They have to have that interest rate mechanism attached to any currency or any form of money. It has to have an interest rate mechanism. I thought of that the other night. There's going to be a way that they're going to attach interest to a crypto.
They have to. Well, because what's going to happen is banks need to eliminate cash in the video I made this morning, because it's costing them billions of dollars to reset the cash, put it in bank machines, deliver it, distribute it. Banks spend billions on resetting cash, right?
They don't care about that. No. Huh? They want cash gone. Cash has got to be... They
want it gone because it's costing them billions. And if they can save money, they'll do it.
I don't think they care about resetting cash. No. There's $14 trillion in the U.S. in IRAs. Mm-hmm. There's tons of money out there. They don't want you to have the ability to take your wealth away from the bank. They have to go
Runoff.
cash.
They don't want to run off on wealth is what they want. Like Cyprus and Germany and other places, when people were hitting up the bank machines and they only get 10 euros or 20 euros because they don't want everyone pulling their wealth out like overnight.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're all going to zero here right away. By next year, the U.S. is at zero. Canada's going to follow along. I think it was Steve the plumber asked me if the other day, or a couple weeks back, if he thought we were going to cut rates here in Canada. I believe we are. We're going to cut rates this year. You know what? I drove my train into the yard today, and I looked across the whole yard, and I could see right across. I shouldn't be able to do that. That's too many empty tracks. I haven't been able to do that since 2016. That's way too many empty tracks. I think everybody's going to zero. Everybody's going negative. And if you can't get your cash, if you can't get it out of the bank, they're going to turn the dial on the interest rates negative, and you're going to run out and that money. And when things are a little better, they're going to dial it back a little bit. But they got you locked in. Do you want to be losing? How much money do you want to lose? There's 15 to 17 trillion in negative bonds out there right now. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the whole world soon. I don't know if people looked on the chart. There was one on Zero Hedge, if that block of all the squares of all the countries whose bonds are negative from 1 year to 30 years. It's unbelievable. It's like 0.75% red. It's sweeping the globe. We're all going.
I spoke about that, guys. You have to watch Morning Coffee with Mike. We discussed this. I usually discuss this slowly through the week and talking about bond yields, inverting yields, all kinds of weird things. And that's one problem here, and that's an indicator for any economist will look at that and see that as an indicator of a major recession or depression. I think, like I said, Raven, a recession is when you're home, you're unemployed, and you're looking for a job. A depression is when your furniture is out on the street.
You know, the way I've heard it before was recession is I lose my job. A depression, you lose your job. And what's coming for us? We all lose our job. A collapse, everyone loses their job. But on that regard of money, I think people realize it now. We're going to zero. And however the U.S. wants to spin why they're dropping their percentage rates, saying that they're trying to close the spread on their rates with everyone else's. Look at New Zealand dropped 0.5% the other day and their currency started to collapse.
Yep.
It's happening everywhere. Turkey dropped 4.25% in one day.
The Turkish lira is not. Don't even bother with the Turkish lira. It's like comparing it to like trying to say.
It's an indicator.
Huh?
It's still an indicator.
I know. No, Raven. I'm with you on that 1,000,000%. It's just
Look at the red flags. In 2008, Iceland crashed. Ireland crashed. People weren't paying attention. And then ING, people woke up. By the time Bear Stearns went, we all knew what was going on. Look around. New Zealand's having currency problems. China's banks are falling apart.
China's been on an asset bubble, asset inflation, deflation, stagnation. China has everything happening to it at one time.
Yeah, they got a $53 trillion credit market and a dual deficit in their accounts and their fiscal deficit. They're running out of American dollars. They're falling apart. I always knew that China was going to be one of China or Europe. I think China. Took me 7 years to figure out which one of the big countries, Europe, Japan, China, or the U.S. I narrowed it down 7 years later. It's going to be China or Europe. And I'm starting to lean towards China because they got so much debt. They're having a lot of trouble there.
Yeah. China's in a heap of problems right now, especially, but they're doing one smart thing. They're doing one thing, is they're dumping their U.S. treasuries and they're buying back gold. And that's a smart move for China.
Yeah. They only have, 1.1 trillion in debt, treasuries. People say, well, who do we default on then? There's $22 trillion. Who are we defaulting on? Mm-hmm. 5 trillion Medicare, 5 trillion Medicaid, 5 trillion Social Security. You want to see social unrest? It's coming. That's going to be the new. Oh yeah, social unrest, civil unrest. It's going to be the new terrorist word that you used to hear from 9/11. Terrorism. It's going to be social unrest, civil unrest. That's going to be huge. The world's got a lot. When I came into work this morning, I'll tell you this story here. I pulled my train and then there was a blockage in the yard. I couldn't get yarded right away. A lady, I don't know the particulars. I mean, I can tell you in a few weeks. A lady drove her car into our rail yard today, parked along the tracks, and walked across a few rails and walked in front of my friend's train. They cut her in half, killed her. That's people are having problems out there.
Well,
and,
okay, whoa. So just take
that was this morning.
12. We'll go back 15 words. A lady drives into your yard, parks, I guess, along some tracks, and then walks in front of your friend's train.
Yeah, when I say yard, I mean rail yard, not my yard.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's huge. Our yard in Winnipeg is one of the biggest in Canada. It's the hardest one to work in Canada, harder than Toronto. It's a big, huge yard. There's hundreds of tracks. It's probably 3 or 4 miles long and maybe 1.5 miles wide. And there's hundreds of tracks, trains everywhere, departing, inbound, and there's yard crews working. And some lady drove her car in there. I don't know what her problem or what her issue was, if she was on drugs or something. And then she parked, got out of her car, and she went and walked in front of a train. And you're only allowed to do 15 miles an hour on the trains in the yard. So they hit her at not a fast rate, but they knocked her down. They cut her right in half. That was this morning when I came into town from out of work last night.
Wow.
Yeah. I had to stay at work a little longer because it was congested because they had that issue. And so I couldn't park properly. I had to go to another route. And yeah, that was this morning. People are not, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of, that meth is a big problem in our city. I see it. It's blatant. 3 years ago, I never knew a person who smoked meth. I never run into anybody. Now I see it every day. I leave my house, people walking with shopping carts, yelling at themselves in the middle of the street. I saw a good-looking girl on Osborne yelling at herself. I was like, what's going on, man?
It's scary, dude. It's scary, man. It's...
Yeah.
I don't know where things are headed. Like, I mean, we always want to, I guess,
if the world has enough problems, you got to throw fentanyl and carfentanil and meth. The world would have chugged along with like cocaine and that, whatever. It's a problem, but that meth, man, holy mackerel! I've met people now that I've known from when I was young that are using it, and they have nothing, but they seem happy because they know in their mind they're going to get meth again. It's the weirdest thing. They don't seem like they're down and out, like they seem like they feel glad. They have nothing. They own nothing. But you can
hold on a second, Raven. Oliver St. John in the comments is saying people are desperate in New Zealand. Oliver St. John, do you want to come on the show next Wednesday? My time will be Thursday your time for Trends in the Housing Market. Add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980. Oliver St. John, add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980. Send me a few lines letting me know, and we'll have you on the show, and we could discuss what's happening in New Zealand, and people are getting desperate there too. So it's gonna be interesting, maybe to hear from someone. Haven't heard from someone in about a month from New Zealand, so it's good. It's good to have someone on.
He's from New Zealand. That guy's from New Zealand.
Yeah, you're saying meth is bad in New Zealand. Yeah, so yeah, I know they had to meth test homes, Raven, in New Zealand. It got so bad in New Zealand that they had to meth test homes to make sure they weren't contaminated before they got rented out to other people.
Wow. Yeah. If you even touch some of that carfentanil, like I think it can kill you if you just push your hand against it.
Really?
Powerful. Yeah. Yeah. I think if it absorbs into your bloodstream, I think you have a big problem. I think you could die from that. Just touching it or touching a surface where it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Okay. Lord Humongous, we want to get, sorry, Raven. We want to get,
no worries. Get Lord Humongous on.
No. I actually want to tell you something about Lord Humongous. Raven, I want to get Lord Humongous. He said he's going to put like a hidden camera on him and go into one of the JP Morgan, or what was it? And ask him how much a kilo of Coke is.
Because of their ship?
Yeah.
That was pretty blatant, eh?
What?
That was pretty blatant of them to do that. Because
but it's them. Look, Raven, just be thankful it's not me or you, because we'd be behind bars. But if it's them, it's okay.
They have cartels in Mexico called the Viagra, the Knights Templar. You know what our cartels in the U.S. are called? They're called the CIA, They're called J.P. Morgan.
Wells Fargo?
They're the drug cartels in the States.
Yeah, in Mexico is the Sinaloa cartel, Gulf cartel, the Gulf cartel. You got Los Tigres. You got Los Norteños. You got all kinds of cartels in Mexico. But
yeah, big problem there. Huge murder rate. They're going to blow away last year's. Unbelievable how many people get killed there.
Oh, it's phenomenal. The state of Guerrero. I mean, I almost bought a house in Guerrero. In Guerrero, just in Acapulco, one of the most beautiful cities. John F. Kennedy and his wife went to Acapulco for their honeymoon. Acapulco is a great city. I mean, I think I spent like 5 weeks in Acapulco when I was younger.
Yeah, I was at the Mayan, went to Chichen Itza, chicken pizza, went and saw the pyramid there.
Yeah, this is what Acapulco looks like, and at nighttime, oh man, yeah. Let's close Wikipedia. Wikipedia could.
He loves silver.
Who?
Hugo Chavez from Mexico. There, he loves silver. That billionaire.
Yeah, silver's nice. Didn't he get a custom silver 9mm made?
I don't know.
Well, here it is, Acapulco. Acapulco is like the beautiful Gulf. It's basically, look at that.
I know the cartels get gold machine guns, though.
yeah, I know. I heard it when they raided some of those cartels, man. They got a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff, man. You'd like to hang up on your wall, eh?
Yeah. But as far as silver, you know what? It's definitely going higher. I would bet on that. It's definitely, the environment is so. You got the trade wars, you got the easy monetary policy and we all know we're going to zero. We're looking at 100 basis points by December. 75 to 100 is coming off the U.S. See, I don't really talk too much about Canada. I don't really care about we're just a small little blip on the scale. U.S. They're going back to zero. You got to watch. Whatever they do is going to affect everybody. So they're looking at 75 to 100 basis points gone by the new year. And then, because remember, Trump needs to use those 2% to create the wealth effect to get himself elected. He's going to do it. They're going down. That Dow is going to 30,000. But you're seeing the Dow and gold rise at the same time some days. Because I'm watching it sometimes all day, watching that gold price and the silver price.
You ever see me on Morning Coffee with Mike? Gold hit 1,500. Oh my God! Because I was very conservative. It was sitting at 1,450, and I'm like, let me be conservative. It's at 1,410, 1,413. Yeah. Let's give it till Christmas to kind of build up, so you don't get this inflated bubble that just goes right back down.
I said to my buddy on Monday, I said, you're going to see gold over 1,500 this week. It was like 4 hours later on overseas markets, it went over 15.
Yep.
It was like really quick. I watched your trends in the housing market last week. That was a really good show. I listened to the whole thing. It was a great.
Uneducated Economist was there with me.
Yeah, he was good. I like that.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I like that guy. I got to get back on the show. I got to get Formifist too. I got to reach out to Formifist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to reach out to a couple other YouTubers and kind of collaborate and talk and kind of hang out and talk.
Yeah, you guys should be like joining together, boosting channels. And...
Oh yeah, I'm not about division. I love everybody, man. I get whoever on my show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not about division. There's no point in dividing. Dividing just causes more headaches and then more, creating division. What for?
Yeah, and they're pretty knowledgeable, those guys. So,
of course,
I think a lot of people read that come to your channel. Lots of people read. Mm-hmm. So I know you read all day long. Mm-hmm. You go through the same stories I go through.
Yep, read stories.
You gotta have a lot of...
you could always send me. Was that you on Facebook that messaged me?
No, I don't use Facebook. I will not.
That wasn't you. I wasn't sure who that was that messaged me. I thought it was you.
No, they're going to be using our data. You know what? I'm not even so sure that things I say on this program and things I write and that are not going to be used against me in the future. I'm not paranoid because I don't really care. Mm-hmm. But they're going to be using our data for hundreds of years after we're gone. And I'm not on Facebook, any social media. They don't know they pretty much know my opinion if they listen to this show.
But your opinion isn't. It's just the basic here. It's just, you know, we're just talking.
They need to silence us. They have to. And look what they came out with. The FBI said if you're a conspiracy theorist, then you're a domestic terrorist.
But
you know
what's a conspiracy theorist? We're just looking at articles. We're just talking. We're talking about, you know, what's happening here, cartel here, gold's going up, race horses, you know, Epstein, blah blah blah. What are we doing? I mean, if we can't do this, then what?
Conspiring or anything?
Huh?
Yeah, we're not conspiring or anything to overthrow the world. We're just, you know, chatting.
Yeah, it's like
problem is, Mike, they see it as us as people who call in and people on your show, as they look at your chat room. Those are the dangerous people. It's not the people that are sitting at home playing with their kids or out that don't come online. Those are the dangerous people. They're the ones that are figuring it out, that are thinking about it, and they're talking to other people about it. And they're spreading the word that they need to nip that in the bud. They never realized the internet was going to be this big of a problem. They just let it go, and let it run. And now they're trying to, you know, you're a domestic terrorist if you're talking conspiracy. Yeah, right. Yeah, they need to nip you in the bud, and they're going to. They're good, as they are already. They're shadow banning. They're demonetizing you guys. They're clipping your views. They're clipping everything.
But I mean, but Raven, it's gonna get really sad when I can't talk about a house or I can't read an article and get into people's opinion on. It's over. We might as well. I mean, like I said, we might as well find an island somewhere, and undisclosed location, carve out a piece of land, and just start over. And just get people to follow and just have like-minded. You know what I'm saying, right, Raven?
Yeah, I'm listing my house next month. I bought a place 125 kilometers outside of Winnipeg on the edge of a lake. A beautiful cottage on the edge of a lake. So I'm getting it ready for later in life that I'm not going to be in the city. I don't like the city. I'm starting to not like it more and more every day.
Yeah, you're just like me. Vancouver was a little bit ahead of its time because the mass buyouts by foreign investors, and a lot of the city turned into an empty shell really quick. And yeah, I left. I said, you know, I don't need to be part of this, man. It's nice. I mean, to be in a city, but then when everything costs you through the nose, I mean, really? You know, you want to get your car fixed in Vancouver? Merry Christmas. Prepare to mortgage your house to fix your car. That's how bad it is.
I bought 2 steaks at Co-op the other day, $42 for 2 steaks.
42 pesos?
42 Canadian dollars.
I know, I believe. I know, I'm just...
$42 for 2 steaks. No wonder all these guys are stealing meat from Safeway and that. People come up to me in the parking lot. Hey, buddy, you want to buy some meat? I'm looking at them going...
I had that when I went down to Vancouver. Where did I go? I went to do something down there at the airport, and then I went to get some food because I had no groceries at home. And there was a guy in the parking lot there. He's like, hey, man, you want to buy some ground beef?
Yeah, his pants. How do you think he got it out of the store? He had it down his pants to walk out of the store. I'm not buying that. Maybe he has no gitch on. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you start dealing with bum juice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, too much bum juice. You got to watch out for the bum juice.
Yeah, it's picking up here.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite is when I went into a 7-Eleven in Vancouver, some guy started licking his fingers like this, like and then took all the 5-cent candies that were open source candies that you bring up to the counter, brings them up with his bloody hands and says, okay, the guy says, okay, 40 cents. He goes, oh, you have 5 cents.
Put them back.
No, put them back. No, don't take them for free, man. I'll give you the 40 cents. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
but he had his grimy mitts in that container of candy, and then you come in after.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go into a lot of restaurants and I see how they prepare the food, and I'm watching them, and I see, I took a video last night in Tim Hortons in Brandon, Manitoba. I went in there at about 4 a.m. with this guy I was working with, get a coffee. There were so many flies all over the food prepper. I have the video. It took like a 15-second. There was like 30 flies walking all over the food preparation, all over the. It was, oh my! I'll never eat again at that Tim Hortons. I just can't do it. It was 4 a.m, so no one was around in that. But those flies, they had the run of the place. There was one girl working there. I said, "That's disgusting." She just looks at me. I'm thinking, man, you got to work in all those flies. They're probably all over you. There was like 30, 40 flies all over. It was unbelievable. I have a video. I took a video. I couldn't believe it. Put up a fly strip.
What? Don't they have one of those things that zap them?
You know what? We have one at work. It works pretty good. It's not a zapper. It's a light. And when they go into the light, they stick to it. So,
I like the one that zaps them so you actually hear it zap.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there might be some leftist propaganda going on that we don't want to hurt the flies.
You know what? I saw a guy walking down Main Street, Winnipeg, 2 days ago with a big beard wearing a bright pink dress and a floppy hat.
Whoa. What kind of floppy hat?
Just a kind of I took a picture. I could say I took a picture. Yeah. My buddy sent me a picture of a guy on Broadway. It's a main street in Winnipeg. He's like 6'2", long blonde wig, wearing a bright pink bikini, walking down the street. Unbelievable, man.
But was it was it warm outside?
Yeah, it's really hot here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty warm.
You know, you know, it's all right. You know, I'm not there. You know, you got a photo of it. That's good enough. You know, as long as I'm not there to see that, I could continue. You know, having an appetite to eat.
Yeah, I'm not judging. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, as long as I don't lose my appetite for 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway,
all
are
right.
you holding a lot?
Well, we've been talking for an hour now, so I'm going to kick you off the channel for a bit.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Next week we'll talk about I don't know. We'll find something to talk about. We'll just go with the flow like we do.
Yeah. Okay. I never realized your trends in the housing market was. I would have stayed up for that. But I thought it was gonna be housing, all housing.
No,
but it
we
was
talk
a good
about housing, but we talk about stuff like construction, slowdowns and material slowdowns, blah blah blah. We talk about it all, you know.
Houses in Winnipeg are still selling. They're selling good here.
Yeah, dude, a house in Winnipeg is like $150,000.
No. You know, the average house, like I'm in a nice average area here, like a good area, south of Winnipeg. You're looking at 300, like for the average, for a decent house, like just an average run-of-the-mill decent house here is about 300 in this area. Get a 2-car garage, detached 2-car garage.
Really?
You know,
in Winnipeg?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's gone up
get
there too?
You know what? There's a ton of houses here that are 7, 8, 900,000, $1 million, $1.5 million.
But that's like 300 times the average income.
When I drive out of the city, I drive past all the new condo projects, and I'm thinking, man, how many are they going to build? And then the houses, I see the houses they're building on the edge of the city that we've punched out to the perimeter, because our city has a perimeter, eh? It's one of the only ones, I think, but we're out to the edge of the perimeter, right around the city. So it's pretty much we're going to have to start building on the outside.
On the outskirts.
On the outskirts. Those houses on the west end, those houses they're building, lots of them are over $1 million a house. And I'm thinking,
in comparison to income in Winnipeg, it's like comparing someone from where's that place there in the States? It's like comparing someone that works and the income from someone in San Francisco and comparing it to the income from someone from Baltimore. Right? Everything, the average house in Baltimore is $140,000 because they make a lot less in Baltimore. But I just can't. Who's buying these houses in Winnipeg?
Who's paying? Who's got, like my friend told me that in those condos, $1,800 for a 2-bedroom for a month. Who can afford $1,800? Like $1,800 for a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
That's
and there's
like $1,350 US.
Yeah, somewhere's right around there. Yeah,
yeah.
You can almost match.
So people listening to this in the States, it's like $1,350 US to rent in Baltimore, basically. I mean, we're talking about Winnipeg, but just picture like Baltimore or North Dakota or something like that.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of pricey houses here. Prices did very well here. Yeah, very well. I bought 5 duplexes in '07.
Yeah, you told me.
In the good part of town.
Good.
You know, I rode that bubble, and now I see it's time. I'm selling them. I've got 2 left to sell. It's time to get out, and I've moved everything in the last 5 years of my sales. I'm moving it all into silver and gold, and I'm going to ride that bubble now and do the same thing again. Get your silver, man. It's still extremely cheap. It hasn't even moved to where it's going to do. You're looking at
silver needs to start rolling up with gold a bit. Like, I'm not talking about even like a 4% movement in silver towards gold, like even a 2% increase in silver. You'll start seeing markets. You'll start seeing the silver market go nuts.
There's a few ways to look at it, and when that's gold price goes, because we all know that's going to go. People can't afford that. Where are they going to turn to? That's what I'm looking at. Even if the economy's lagging, and it's a commercial metal, right? That's used in industry. 65% is used in industry. Even if the economy's lagging, you can't get gold because you can't afford it, or you can't acquire it or source it. You got to turn to silver. I think silver's minimum $50 within the next 3 years or sooner, but minimum $50.
And maybe it has to. Silver needs to. Silver, like, there's 2 things. I think oil and silver are the 2 severely underrated commodities on the markets. Silver is severely undervalued. Severely undervalued. Silver should be sitting at about $93 an ounce. Like, let's just say very conservatively, 93, maybe $103 an ounce, conservatively.
Yeah. And the how much it's undervalued is a testament to how easily they can manipulate it with their futures contracts.
Yeah.
They could just sweat it. But it's not working for them now. Their naked shorts they're not doing it. Because everybody's watching. There's no big dumps on the COMEX. They're not knocking it down. It's like they're letting it adjust slowly. They don't want to shock the world, but they're letting it adjust slowly. They've let the other countries load up on their gold, and now they're letting it start to come up. And like I said, gold's going to go, and it's going to go. And hey, it hit an all-time record in Canada here. We broke $2,000 there the other day.
Yeah, and not only that, it hit huge records in Brazil with the real, and it hit other ones. Oliver St. John is predicting gold $2,000 by Christmas.
American?
Yes.
Yeah, American. So that's a little high. You know what? It all depends what plays out in the political field there. The trade wars, you know what? They're still poking at Iran. Brexit, that's going to be huge. Brexit is got a due date of Halloween, October 31st. Brexit's got to come.
All Hallows Eve.
What are they going to do? Is it a hard landing?
The UK has to pay out all these bullcrap contracts to get out. And then not only that, the gold is breaking away from the pound as we speak.
Yeah. I don't think Brexit has an answer. I don't think it's going to be good either way that it's done.
No, it's going to be a short-term destruction, but it's going to be, in the long run, it's going to be good with trades and commodities and trading. It's going to be good for trading later on.
Okay, so 2011 gold hits a high of 1900, and I think it's $12 American, 1912. Silver goes to 50. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're looking, okay, so let's see gold. Gold's at $1,509 right now. It hit $1,525.
I see it conservatively by Christmas, $1,650. I said $1,500 by Christmas because I was being super conservative and I didn't want to jump the gun. Okay, I'm saying $1,650 by Christmas. What do you say?
By Christmas? Gold by... Okay, this is all recorded, okay? So gold by Christmas... I'm going to say 1,900 gold by Christmas.
Whoa, that's huge.
And you know what? I'll tell you, Mike, gold hit 1,912 in 2011. Silver hit 50, right? So you can, that's an average. Okay. So that's what happened when gold hit that, silver hit that. We're pretty sure gold is going to go way higher than that. There's too much going on and it's going to go way. So where is silver going to go? And silver's even more rare. And you're adding 90,000 people to this planet every day, and they all use silver. So there's demand and more demand and more demand.
Well, you know, and I know that silver's disappearing.
Well, they say by 2028, the element chart says that we're running out of silver. I don't think so. They'll probably just dig deeper, but it's going to be the first element we run out of.
I think we're going to have, I hand to God, I believe that, Raven, by that time, we're going to have a super oversupply of oil.
You know what? They're talking oil might go up again, too.
Yeah.
And I know you
know what? I know what the energy sector right now, to me, in my opinion, in my heart of hearts, I think the energy sector is breaking down.
You know what I'm looking at now? I see 80% silver, 20% gold. I'm looking at some cryptos like EOS. I like EOS a lot. And I'm going 3 times silver miners, like leverage 3 times. I get some in your TSFA or in an RSP account, but mostly in your TSFA. If you can go, if you can get the, hold on a second. My neighbor just pulled by. I'm just down outside. Yeah, if you can get silver 3-time stocks, like something leveraged. The miners are highly coiled to the silver price. Mm-hmm. It's gonna go. We can see it. We're in the bull market. We blew past the 200-month average on silver. It's gonna go. It's everybody you see on TV, even Ray Dalio. Go buy your gold. Everybody, get your gold.
Look, Oliver St. John right now in the comments is on the money. Oil would be $20, and I believe him, and I believe that. Do you know why? It's because I'm seriously thinking, and I've been kind of talked into this, and it makes a lot of sense. There's going to be a destruction in the energy sector. It's going to fall apart because without your train moving and without tractors and big rigs hauling stuff, there's going to be a drop in fuel usage.
Class 8 trucks are collapsing. What'd they say? 81% since last year.
Yeah.
Traffic is down. We just put 30 people to retention today. They're sitting on the sidelines now, 30 more people. I can see the empty tracks in the yard. I can tell. And you know what? Now I'm noticing the intermodal trains that are going to China, the container traffic, the actual cans, the sea cans that they haul on the ships. Those trains are half full. I'm seeing half of them empty. That's a weird thing to see containers and then a half all empty flatbeds that hold them, like 4,500 feet or 5,000. That's a mile. 5,280 feet is a mile of empty traffic on these trains, train after train after train with empty traffic. That's an indicator, man. I'm watching that. And, you know, some of the businesses we drive by when we're driving our train, there's these guys who build semi-trailer axles. They put axles on semi-trailers. That guy's parking lot was full for years. Now it's only a third full. And I tell these guys, look at how much, remember that guy used to be full all the time. That guy's only got a third the business now. Yeah. Look at the indicators. And the parking lot, I told you, is huge. You know, at work, look at how many cars, empty spots there are in the parking lot. And it's usually full, overfull.
Well,
there's
that parking lot you mentioned to us is big enough to land a plane in it.
I go into the shopping centers. I ask the girls at the counter, how much is your foot traffic this month? Because they keep track. She told me at Bootlegger years ago that they're getting 15,000 people a month that come in their store, right? They're down to $6,000 in that same Bootlegger years later. I talked to that girl. I keep in contact the people there, and I asked foot traffic. I asked businesses, how's it looking? What's going on? But
Raven, you would think the way they're brainwashing us that more and more people are being born and we're overpopulated, you would think that those businesses from 15 or 60 or whatever thousand, they would be at 30, 40, 50,000 with the increase in population. But what's going on here? Nothing's really fitting here.
What's their plan is a better question. What's their plan? Are they going to fix the economy so we can go to 9 billion people? I don't think so. That's not a good plan.
Mm-hmm. No, but I'm saying that the plan that they're feeding us, that we're overpopulated, you would think that these places would be overrun with people and spending money and everyone's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But instead, you're getting less and less traffic. That doesn't fit the status. That doesn't fit the quote they're trying to tell us.
It doesn't, because we're overpopulated when it comes down to you want to count how much resources we got left on this planet. There's too many people and we're going through them too quick. which brings me back to, are they going to let a travesty, are they going to let this collapsing society or whatever, are they going to fix it so that we can keep chewing through and add more people? I think they're going to use this to clean up all the problems of the planet. They're going to clean up the population. They're going to clean up everything will be fixed off of this. They're not going to, I think they're going to use this as a chance to maybe just weed out the herd a little bit. You know, there's too many people. And I went swimming at the lake the other day, Mike. I never swam in water that hot in my life. That was a real wake-up call to how hot it's getting outside. Mm-hmm. The top part of the lake was like someone heated it up on a stove. It was so hot. My whole life of swimming in that lake, every summer I swim there all the time, and I never swam in water that hot. That was a wake-up call.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so too many people.
Interesting.
And we don't got the resources, and we got no way off this planet. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. You're right.
The flat Earth guy sends his rocket up tomorrow. If you want to watch that on TV, there's that guy who's going to shoot his own homemade rockets powered by steam. He's a flat Earth guy. He's going to send it up 5,000 feet.
He's going to do what the other guy did, and he's just going to prove the world is round.
He is the other guy. He did it before. He almost got hurt.
But he's just going to prove it's round. What's the point?
I have friends who will swear up and down that it's flat. I don't.
God. All right. Well. Anyways.
I don't believe it. I'm a round earther.
Yeah, I'm a round earther too. We're like, I don't. Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, I know you got led another guest on there. I don't want to keep you all night.
No, it's good. It's good. We got some really good points here, Raven. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. You know.
Hey, are you sitting with you? got silver, eh?
Oh yeah, I stacked silver back in '97, dude.
Yeah.
I even have the commemoratory George Bush silver coins.
I have a silver coin from Israel. It's something about a church in Israel. I thought was a kind of a strange one to have. Mm-hmm. 1 ounce. Yeah.
There's some good prices out there for silver. If you get some good silver suppliers, that's just maybe 50 cents or 70 cents higher than the price of spot silver. And yeah.
We Buy Gold. There's a company called We Buy Gold. I don't know if you have them out there. They're in Winnipeg, and you can get it pretty good, like $1 over spot from those guys. It's usually used, a couple years old, maples. Mm-hmm. I always try to go with the maples a lot. I have a lot of different stuff, but I go with the maples. I got quite a few 100 ounce bars, mm-hmm. but I want to get I bought enough to make a pyramid. But,
nice. Nice.
I want to get and kilo coins and a lot of maple leaves.
The biggest ones I have are 10 ounce bars. That's it.
I got 10, a lot 5, of
10, 5, 1, 10, 5, and 1 ounce bars.
The Canadian Mint's about 3 kilometers from my house here.
Oh, it's 3 clicks?
Yeah, it's right at my end of town here, the Royal Canadian. I drive past it when I go to the lake. Yeah, it's a really cool building. Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
well, keep your silver, visit you sometime out in Murder Peg then.
I don't even know what our murder rate's at now. I lost count.
Murder Peg. Yeah. Well, I'll come visit you sometime when I drive through. If I drive through Canada, I might get an RV. So next summer, I might be hitting up your cottage there.
Next summer, that's what I was gonna say. You should bring Supreme with you to my cottage. I got a guest cabin. It's right on the water. I'm going out there on holidays to put a new roof and redo the inside and put a new floor in, and I put leather couches in. I got a projection TV for in there. And I'm going to get a big screen to pull down so you can watch movies on the wall, and it's going to be cool. Nice. And you can see the lake. The whole lake is right behind you.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, Raven. Hey. God bless you. And we'll have you on soon.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Take care. Bye. Guys, that is the Raven. Man, did he have a lot to talk about tonight. Yeah, and we got, what's his name? Supreme, where'd he go? Supreme Cannon says, you got a deal, Raven. Yeah, for sure, man. Head out there. I'm thinking of picking up, I've been seeing RV. So, guys, interruption of the show. This tonight's show and maybe a couple other shows, probably for the rest of my life. This show's dedicated to my daddy. Passed away at 66 3 weeks ago. And, I used a lot of his still use a lot of his advice every day. And I want to thank everyone for their kind words. And it was a really tough time here at the house seeing him struggle like that. But he was with his grandkids and his only son, so I think it was meant to be. He came here on vacation, and I feel bad. I feel still hurting, and yeah. We're all destined to on the same path, but we got to make our lives as good as possible. Good memories on this earth. Supreme Canon says, God bless your old man. He raised a good boy. And yeah, he lived a good life, a very good life. So anyways, let me get Supreme Canon on here so he can gnaw my ear off for a bit. I'm not sure if he's still awake. Let's see what Supreme's up to. I hope he's not in trouble. We got Urban Off-Gridding. I want to get him on the show next week. Urban Off-Gridding, are you watching this in Australia right now? I want to get you on trends in the housing market, and we could talk about what's happening with the defects in constructions and buildings there. And we could see what's going on. Check out my link, Mike, when you have a chance. Is that you, Urban Off-Gridding? Because everyone uses different names from their Facebook, so it's kind of hard for me to remember who is who. And next week we gotta get Lost Canuck back on the show. We need a Lost Canuck on here to tell us what the heck is going on his neck of the woods and his new channel. I was supposed to meet up with him tomorrow, like this Friday, but I had to come back. I had so many loose ends I need to tie up, and so it says, I am Timothy. I'm looking for Timothy here on my... Man, there's so many people on Skype. I have almost 1,000. I think I just broke 1,000 people on Skype. I'm just trying to find... Where the heck is Supreme Canon? I hope he's not in jail. Steve was in the, Yeah, Steve, where are you? Are you still there? Let me see if he's on Skype. He's probably sleeping. What time is it? It's like 1:30 in his neck of the woods. Let me see. STP, where are you? Stevie? Oh, the Supreme Canon calling back.
Hey,
yo,
buddy.
What's up, dog?
What's up?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Oh, just hanging out, watching YouTube,
All
people
right,
with
pick
no life.
one. Let's talk. Hong Kong. What's gonna happen? Chinese persecuting Christians. Where's Silver gonna go? What else are we talking about here? Oh, we're talking about all kinds.
Oh boy, all those things are probably tied in together,
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty multifaceted. Where Hong Kong's concerned, I don't think they have a chance in hell, but I think the Chinese are going to have to be a little ginger about it. I don't think they're going to roll tanks in like Tiananmen Square. I don't think they want that on the news, but apparently they've amassed I think it's going to turn on the volume on the thing here. Apparently they've amassed a lot of plainclothes people and a lot of regular infantry outside of town, like in Shenzhen over the line.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll probably just go in one morning and take over the major intersections, and if there's any major financial centers, they'll probably go in and take those. I don't think the people of Hong Kong are going to respond very well to your usual Communist Party mouthpiece on the evening news. I don't think they're going to burn the place to the ground. The big thing is right now, Hong Kong is like the third largest or most important financial center in the world. It's possible the Chinese will just bypass it because I think they'd prefer Shanghai to have that role. And Shanghai is probably just about ready for it. I think there's like 18 million people there. So the only problem I think they have is that the scandal came out in the last week to 10 days that the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank made enormous, very low interest loans to the Chinese government to prop up the yuan. So they might just be rattling the sabers so that they don't try to use too much leverage. They're probably not interested in paying those loans back. I have a feeling it comes down to money in this case. I mean, Hong Kong was always kind of quasi-independent, so they're not really whizzing in the mainland China's cornflakes. But I suspect there's a money issue involved.
Mm-hmm. All right,
So-
let's move on to Chinese persecuting Christians to stay quiet about persecution.
Oh yeah, naturally, yeah. Yeah, what a shock, eh? Yeah, we're wiping you out, but don't you complain about it. Yeah, it's kind of like what we get here, isn't it? It's a little bit more benign here, but it's kind of the same idea. Yeah, it might be a protection racket there too. Apparently, there's 100+ million Christians in China. They're gonna have a hard time. They're not gonna arrest them all or wipe them out. They're probably a major economic force, and they certainly wouldn't be causing any trouble other than the fact that they're not godless communists.
I mean,
probably
if I had to choose
intimidation.
sides, I obviously choose the church. I'm not going to go on the communist side.
Of course, yeah, and I agree. It just comes down to probably gets to the point where if they're being persecuted, then they're probably really starting to exercise some serious cultural influence. Mm-hmm. I think they're probably like the ancient Romans, like you could worship any god you wanted as long as you bowed to Caesar when you were told to bow to Caesar. It probably stuck in a lot of people's craw, but you did what you had to do to keep them from, burning your town down. So maybe the Christian influence is getting a little too strong for their liking in some provinces. Otherwise, I can't see them stopping it. They were pretty lackadaisical about it for quite a while.
What about, I mentioned this early, getting Lord Humongous to go over to JP Morgan and with a hidden camera for the channel and ask him how much Kia Coke is?
Well, that'd be good. Yeah, maybe we should get him to do that. We'll pass the hat around, see if Lord H go. Yeah, I need a kilo of the good stuff. And we were talking in the comments there, and I said to probably tell him, well, it's on back order because we had some problems with shipping. Yeah, maybe next ship. Yeah. JP Morgan owns a ship that's packing Coke. Like, I'm just shocked, gobsmacked. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, these are awful people. They really are terrible. I mean, we have no idea. We think we know how bad it is.
These are the people that don't believe that heaven and hell exist because if it did, they'd go to hell.
That's probably part of it. A little part of the earlier comments were about religion and such. And, everyone has their personal view, and I respect that. That's fine. It just comes down to there are a lot of really, really evil people that definitely believe in Moloch or Lucifer or whatever. And I suspect as much as anything, it's just a blackmail thing. It's just, okay, well, if you want to join our club, you got to do some weird rituals and oh, by the way, afterwards, we get the whole thing on video. That's probably where Epstein got most of his leverage. He's got video of very famous and powerful people doing things that, they really don't want their public to know about. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I have a feeling just the fact these things have lasted for so many centuries is because you have a lot of people at the top who are definitely true believers. You can mock religion all day long, but it's no joke to the most evil people. They definitely they need something to pass on to their kids, and the love of money doesn't work as well as an actual spirituality, no matter how depraved it may be. That's my theory anyway. That's how I look at it.
Okay, Silver, what do you see Silver rallying soon? Is it going to start remotely moving towards a positive territory in the next couple of quarters?
I think so. Silver has shocked a lot of people, and silver moves. It's got an elastic relationship to gold. Obviously, I mean, the gold-silver ratio is like 90. I think it hit 98-1 a month ago, which is absolutely unreal. It hasn't been that way in decades. It's under 90 right now.
I don't think it's ever been that way ever, to be honest with you.
I've seen a chart going back to the middle of the 19th century, and I think sometime in sometime in the 90s, I think it hit like 100 to 1 or something, or maybe it was even 1980 during that last big run up. It was ridiculous. It's relative, right? Like they can control silver up to a point. What might buy, ironically enough, if there is price management going on, what might buy them some time is a recession, because most silver is used industrially. So the demand for silver goes down. It would put a downward pressure on the price. But you've also got, they're going to try to solve the recession the way they always do. They're going to flood the economy with new money, which definitely did not save Mr. and Mrs. Main Street last time. They look at the markets, and like I've always said, that line on the chart goes from lower left to upper right, so everything's great. But most people on Main Street, it's news to them. They're not sharing in that. That's the problem with these elites that we have. They've lost because they're globalists and not nationalists or patriots of any kind at all anymore, or even a pretense of it. They don't care about their own people. They just see the number going up and think, all right, we're winning. I think the old elites, they were smarter, and they were, ironically enough, probably even a little bit more moral in their way.
You know what? The older elites had respect for others, regardless if they, a lot of the older elites did respect and did hear others, and kind of, I don't know how to say, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. They kind of were more, had manners.
Well, they had manners. Yeah, you had a little more class. You're right. The old artists and scientists and the old bankers and financiers. They all, you remember, you've seen yourself some of your photo montages in your videos. People, even poor people, they dressed well. They had a certain sense of style, and there was a commonality.
Yeah, like those video montages I made, and the homeless kids wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, everybody looked their best. They were constantly, you always put your best foot forward, and you kept things clean and decent. And even the poor neighborhoods, the garbage was picked up. There was still a sense of neighborhood, right? Of neighborliness.
Yes.
And even the elites. And we talk about the elites we have today, Mike, but the Dutch East India Company in the 1600s, in today's dollars, they were worth like 70 or 100 trillion dollars or something, unbelievable number. Mm-hmm. Like they had a wealth and a power. The old Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the oil guy, Getty and those guys. The money they had, $1 billion back then would be like 50 or 100 billion today. There's just the closest anybody has come to the kind of power that they have is maybe Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy.
That funny looking guy, right?
The funny looking guy, yeah, the bald guy that just got, divorce pillaged by his wife, right?
I got Timothy Mack in the comments saying gold 6.78 billion ounces, but silver 2.78 billion ounces above ground. The ratio is destroyed above ground, so the larger stockpile gets the large dollar amount. In what world does this work? Yeah, there's a lot more gold above ground than there is silver. There's a lot less silver out there.
Oh, definitely. Silver gets used all the time. It gets drawn down. Do you see
silver disappearing in the next decade or two? Because it is getting harder to find.
It's getting harder to find at that price. That's the problem with price management. It's also, in a way, supply management, right? How do you manage the supply of money? Well, you drop the price of it. They control the price of it. So they drop the price to zero and money floods out the door as long as people are buying it. You can always count on governments to spend too much. But it works the same way with commodities. If, say, the price of oil was being managed right now, well, as long as enough oil is coming out of the ground that they can more or less, pump oil and make them.
Supreme, are you still there? Supreme? Hello? Oh, he'll call back when he's back online. I wanted to, So he was talking about oil. They'll just pump out enough oil to keep it semi-profitable. I think that's what he was going to say. Yeah. Went through a lot tonight, guys. What time is it? It's 10:30 here still, but it's been talking for 2.5 hours. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to basically support this channel, go ahead and find one of my videos and share it. I don't care what. Just go share something. I don't go, like, look how many videos I have. Just go share something. This series is good here. Guys, I want to plug my other channel. Guys, you're going to have to support me on this channel. I want to really grow my my video. I have a video game review channel that I've been working on for a couple of years, and here it is. If you don't mind subscribing to it, you don't have to hit the bell. I don't care, like, if you watch anything, but I want to get an X amount of subscriptions there so they could start unlocking things for my channel. And I really work hard on this channel. It's my little passion I have on the side, and if you guys don't mind subscribing to that channel, I really don't care if you watch any of it at all. I just want to start getting a little bit. Here's my Portuguese channel. I'm over 5,000 subscribers on my Portuguese channel. Lots of good documentaries I made here, guys. Lots of good ones. They're in Portuguese, though. That's where all the money's going. In Mozambique. So if you get time, I got my Portuguese channel if you guys want to learn some Portuguese. It's pretty cool, actually. But, what else have I got here? Yeah, Handheld Junkie, guys. Subscribe to that. I don't care if you guys even watch anything on it. I just want to see if I could get some subscribers on there. I want to get David Icke. I really like this guy a lot. This guy's been in and out. This guy is like the been there, done it guy. This guy is such a, I don't know, he just seems like such a, like he really wants to help people, you know? I want to get Sandman on my channel. This guy, MGTOW, we'll do a MGTOW show. Maybe get Sandman on the show. See what he's got going on. Oh, missing YouTuber Cringe. Maybe get her on my channel. And who else we got? I want to get Low Roller Scratcher. I don't know why he doesn't want to call into the show. He's always making videos. Like he's making he's got videos, all these videos here. He makes videos like a day ago, 2 days ago. I want to get Lower Scratcher here. Walking Journey, we need to get back. It's been too long since we've seen Walking Journey. Haven't heard from him in a while. I need to get Walking Journey on here. And yeah, don't forget to support me on Patreon, guys, if you want to buy me a coffee. $1 a month supports. And if you're still on Facebook, get off and join us on minds.com. Don't forget to check me out on The Dirty. Mike is a dirty, fat liar, fraud, and fake. Don't forget to check this out, guys, if you're bored. Come on The Dirty and post all the hate you want about me. Lord Humongous says, I'm subscribed to Handheld Junkie. He is great. I guess they were talking about David Icke. Adam says, what does color have to do with being a true Canadian? I don't know. That came out of left field. The SBS central bankers are pushing savers. Then Walking Journey says, Walking Journey joined the cartel. And Elizabeth saying, it's getting late, Mike, and I'm praying for you and your family, and I'm praying for everyone on Mike's channel. God bless you all. Good night. Thank you, Elizabeth. God bless you. Amen. And commenting on Elizabeth's post. Okay. Anyways, guys, yeah, I guess we lost Lord Humongous. I'm falling asleep, guys. You know when you talk for 2 hours straight? Look at this. Human tragedy on the diseased streets of San Francisco. Worse than slums in Brazil and India. Yep. First world country. We see poop, pee, and needles. Yeah, it's getting worse than Sao Paulo. Rio de Janeiro. Samba de Janeiro. It looks like the YouTube wants me off. They're kind of hitting my channel back and forth here. It's like my time to speak is up.